Okay, welcome everybody to our regular Friday night meeting. Let me get some lights here. So I got a couple things I wanted to touch on right away, and I'm blaming this on Mick Russo. So one of my, he raises his hand, one of my stated goals as I've been in this position was I'd like to see more people in this room. I mean, we all know that COVID didn't do us any good, and we probably, most of us found out that it's not good to live in isolation. So I'd like to see more people in here. Well, because I'm always trying to get this right and do that thing, I haven't welcomed anybody, I don't think, since I've been in this position. So we're going to do something a little maybe cheesy. So if you have been here new since the first of the year, raise your hand. I know Brad has. John, you've been here. Like this is, you're either a new member or first time. Okay. So Brad over here, who's just rocking it. I've seen your images for tonight. And last week you rocked it also. So Brad is new. Anytime I'm going to try to start asking, anytime there's a new person, to just welcome them, make them feel, it's challenging to walk into a new place and there's people you don't know and so forth. So my fault. We're going to hopefully change that. And I'm going to call on Nick to call me to task on that every week. Okay. Along those same lines, I think we're at a point where we can order some more name tags. So there is a clipboard that's going to live up here. If you need a name tag, you've lost yours. Wally, yours is up here still. Oh, you got it. Okay. If you need a name tag, haven't had one, you're a new member, put your name on here and we'll get you a name tag. You've noticed that our clothing is like shrinking a little bit. Denise Meekins was good enough to like fold a lot of this stuff, but it's now living in a shelf. The rest of it is living on a shelf over there next to the refrigerator. And I want to see if anybody's been observant, if they've noticed anything in the club new tonight. Not a peep. Lighting wise, have you noticed anything new? Not a peep. The lights next to the refrigerator are now working. They haven't worked since I've been here. So you can see the apparel. So you notice it's not dark in there. No, there's two nice LED lights there. How about this one? Anybody notice anything in the gathering room? Those are all brand new LEDs in the gathering room. And now that you know, go out there, look, it is much brighter. So thank you for the city for doing that for us. Okay, let's jump in. Our picnic is going to happen. I met with Catherine Kengott today. I wish she were here. She's just rocking everything. So she's taking the lead on this, and we're doing things a little bit differently this year. What we're going to do is Saturday, August 23rd. It's going to be here, 4 to 8 p.m. You can now register through the website. In the past, we've let you bring food or pay. This year, everybody pays. We dropped the price down to $15. Everybody pays through the website, through PayPal. You can bring up to 6 people. We could probably get more, but if you've got friends and family, it's open to non-members. We are providing all of the food and drinks. So it just makes things a lot easier. The drinks are going to be, or the food, hamburgers, hot dogs on our own CPS charcoal grill. Yes. There's going to be baked beans. There's going to be beverages, but I'm sorry, we're on the city property, no adult beverages. There's going to be games, fun, fellowship. So we left the dessert a little bit open. If you wanted to, and you've got a special dessert that you would like to bring, I'm not going to turn anybody away from bringing desserts. So if you wanted to, you could bring a dessert. So get in there and sign up on that. Again, their tent's going to be here, so if it rains, we're under shelter. If it's really sunny, bright, we're under shelter from the sun. The air show is now open to non-members, and I registered this week. Very easy. Register through the website. You got a link on your email, and then I actually skipped a day and then called to get my parking pass because you have to arrange for your own parking. And I don't particularly want to walk a long way on my artificial knees, so I paid for the parking. It's not cheap, but it was easy. There's a number. If you need it, I've got it, but it is on your sign-up letter. So the registration is going to close in 2 weeks, on August 15th. There will be 3 pickup days here. You have to pick up your physical tickets. So 2 of these are Wednesday, 1 of them is a Friday, and I'd say in all 3 cases, there should be somebody here by 5:45. And if there's a special request, I'll get here even earlier than that. This coming week, it's a full week. This coming week, we've got our special interest group meeting, that care and feeding of your expensive digital cameras. The last I heard, I think Dave Bush has written books on 300 camera models. So he should be able to help you. You've got a specific question on any camera model. And this is one that you might not be aware of, but this is for members only. You have to, if you want to hear this, you're going to have to be in the club room about an hour after, usually about an hour after his talk is done. It will be uploaded to our members only portal. But you cannot see this recording unless you're a member. Last week, that this is going to be running next Friday. It's going to close down the black and white at the Heights Art Exhibit. Gabe Wasilko is going to be coming. He's just great at images of Cleveland. I expect and hope that he's going to share those places that he shoots from, because the places he gets pictures of are great. So we have our first upcoming creative competition. It's going to be projection. The deadline to enter is August 6th. For anybody new, it's always going to be roughly 10 days before the competition for projection. And that's on Shutterscore. You go through Shutterscore. It's very helpful, very easy to do. You can load up to 3 images. And just a reminder, our school enrollments are open. Those are the starting dates you see on the side there. So the end of this month, we're starting the fundamentals class again. I took fundamentals when I joined the club, and I'd already had 100 weddings under my belt, and I still learned something. And I think the school is a lot better now than it was then. We've made a lot of improvements. The fundamentals, if you know anybody that wants to get interested, it is a great soup to nuts class. It's kind of our gateway also into the club for people to get involved. And of course, we got all of our editing programs to help photographers, helping photographers. Our iPhone school's got about 16 people in it already. We closed it, we shut it off at 50 people last time. And we got good reports on it, so hopefully it'll be good again. And our mentoring program is coming up again. We're going to run mentoring again in the fall. The rollout night is going to be here at 7:30 on September the 2nd. Catherine's running that also, but we need mentors. And it seems to be kind of slow for people to sign up. But don't be afraid to consider being a mentor. I mean, I've done it, I think, every time that we've run it. And I don't win very many competitions, but the people seem to like mentoring with me. The great thing about mentoring is it's your group, however many you want to decide. If you want to decide 1 or 4 or 15, I roll myself out as for beginners. I'm the guy that if you got through fundamentals, didn't quite understand your camera settings and stuff, I'll be the guy to be with. I do one-on-ones with people. I'll do a night shoot and just kind of get people up to a more comfortable level. We have other people here, without mentioning names, that are running an academy. So there's all different levels, but here's the cool thing. You decide how many people you'll take. You decide when you meet. You decide where you meet. It's basically your gig. And a lot of people have the skills to do this, and I think they're maybe a little fearful, thinking that they don't have that knowledge, but most of you have more than you think, and you just need to share it a little bit. Okay, let me get our competition going for tonight. So for the new person, first of all, I have to apologize again. This is going to be a regular thing with me. How many images can you submit for photojournalism night? 7. I've been telling people 5. Yeah. When you guys see me making a mistake, call me out, because I'm not sure if I was like behind the door or asleep on the memo on that. I think part of what's happened is that we've got not as many entries as we would like. They've been kind of tapering off, so we've got time for more. Tonight, I think we only have 11 people that entered in about 55, I think, images. So the way this works is people have, there's 2 ways that can go. People have, when you submit, it asks you for a brief description of what the image is, what it means to you, whatever, how you shot it, whatever you want to share. For those who are not here, I have what they submitted in writing, and I'll read that. For those who are here, we've got somebody who's going to pass a microphone to you because the people at home won't be able to see you, hear you say what you're doing. So we can see if we can get this guy to run. Okay. So right out of the gate, Bill Keaton is not here tonight. He hasn't slipped in late. So, and I'm just reading what he wrote here. This one he called End of Watch. A woman lights a candle at a memorial for Lorraine police officer Philip Wagner following his death. 3 Lorraine police officers were shot last week in an ambush. Wagner and the alleged perpetrator both died of gunshot wounds. So that's his first image. We generally haven't asked for input on images on photojournalism night. Usually it's just the person who's taken the picture. I don't know how you guys feel if you want to comment, but I think we'll just go ahead and do it as we've done in the past. So this image he calls a fallen officer. Shortly after the death of police officer Philip Wagner, a candlelit memorial was held at the Lorraine Police Department in his honor. Blue Lives Matter flags were planted around the memorial area where candles burned. So that's a fallen officer. This one he calls The Future Grows Dim. A young child, part of a family of 5 at the protest, holds a sign during a demonstration against the Trump administration held in Oberlin. This week, the EPA announced it is moving to end climate regulation under the Clean Air Act. So that's called The Future Grows Dim. This is called Bone Spurs. An elderly veteran participates in a protest against the Trump administration. The administration has proposed cutting more than 80,000 jobs at the Department of Veterans Affairs, where 1/4 of the employees are actual veterans. There are also major cuts to funding the suicide hotline and medical research. That's called Bone Spurs. Growing rage. People protesting the Trump administration are from all age brackets. Trump's budget bill will give an extra tax break to seniors, but that expires in 2028, while tax cuts for the rich are permanent. Cuts to Medicare and Medicaid will cause an estimated 8 million people to lose coverage over the next few years. Again, that's called Growing Rage. And then his last image is called Right or Wrong. A woman holds up a sign on one side of Detroit Avenue while others line the far street during a protest in Avon. Hundreds lined Detroit Avenue and Ohio 83 recently, and on more than one occasion, with a lot of traffic waving or honking horns in approval. Protests have taken place on numerous dates in many cities throughout Ohio. Again, that one is Right or Wrong. So those are Bill Keaton's images, and for this next one, we need to get Brad a microphone. So this is Brad Nelson. Hey, if you would, Brad, the meeting tonight's probably going to go short. We've got lots of time.
Okay.
Would you mind sharing your background? So I met Brad at on a 4th of July holiday, and I was pretty impressed with his background. But then I saw his images, and I went, dude, this guy's.
Thank you.
So
very
if
much.
you, give us some of your background.
Yeah, so my background is in photojournalism. So I worked for about 7 years for the Sun newspapers. But I got out of the business just because it just became old for me. It got kind of burned out. Went back to school. Now I work in auto insurance. But Chris, when we talked on the boat, it was, want to get back into this, learn some more things, meet new folks. But I think the things you'll see coming up next I think they're from 2002, 2003, when I was first out of school. And this was kind of nice for me to go back into that laptop that I had that's got all this old stuff in it. And it's kind of funny when you look at your old work, it's like, why did I crop it that way? Why was it shot that way? So it's kind of good just as a general thumb, just to go back and see what you shot in the old times as well, too.
Hold the mic just a little bit closer. I'm not sure if everybody's hearing. Okay, ready to roll here?
Yes, sir. Oh, that's much better. Sorry. All right, so this is a gas line fire. This was in Maple Heights in 2002. This was a construction crew that did not call before they dug. basically what it boils down to. I was on my way to another shoot at this time, and I was stopped in traffic, and I wondered what was going on. So I got out and I walked up, and this is what I got. This was shot in a Nikon D1. That camera came out in, I believe, 1999. It's a 4.1 megapixel, and this was shot in a 300-2.8 on that.
Okay.
Working for the Sun newspapers, we did a lot of local interest stories. This woman unfortunately lost her spouse on 9/11. I believe he was in the South Tower. Chris, is that what it says on my notes? I think I
Let me
forget.
catch up here.
Yeah.
Is it, North Tower.
North Tower. Yeah.
In 2006 is when you took this.
Yeah. So this is back in 2006. Still, this was a Nikon, I think it's a D2H at this time. A little bit of a better model. But this woman lived in Brecksville, and we did many stories with her over the years, typically around the time of September 11th and that fall as well too. So this was one of the many shots we had with her. I actually shot this in color, but for the night, I figured I might turn this to black and white. I think it looks a little bit better. Local newspapers, you spend a lot of time shooting sports. So every year I truck down to the state track and field finals, and you kind of pin your spot by the finish line. If I'm not mistaken, this might be a 4x100 or a 4x2.
4x1.
Yeah, thank you. And this is the winning race. This is the last person on that leg to cross. They won the state title. This was in, Chris?
2005.
5, thank you.
Yep.
I should have brought my notes. Thank you. All right. As I said before, a lot of sports. This, unfortunately, was a district loss for the Brooklyn High School boys basketball team. This young man here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, had a chance to win the game by sinking a free throw and was not able to do that. And this was him at the bench after the game. So not right after the game, like kind of waited around. He talked to his coaches, and then like as everybody started to walk away, he kind of fell to the ground at that point. This was, there is a Marine Reserve in Brook Park, Ohio. And the job that day was to cover these guys coming home. So this was kind of a, I don't want to say a hard shoot, but it was very hard to get a lot of emotion just because there were so many folks in your way. So I was able at this time to get up on top of a chair and shoot down when this guy got off the bus. So this is probably one of my favorite ones of this era just because of the really good smile. And I really like the shot too because you can actually see in the upper left the actual name of the group too. Very, very good. Sun newspapers often will have me go to like after school stuff. This was a Halloween mask thing at the local library. So walked into that room and really wasn't much going on, and finally saw these two kids giving it their all. And this was actually, if I'm not mistaken, in Broadview Heights, like 2002, 2003. This was the fair that they have out there. So I got there right when it opened, and this kid was just waiting for it to start. I thought that was kind of a nice shot where it's like, hey, there's really not much going on, but there's just a lot of pattern to it. So I thought that was a good shot with him right there in the middle.
Outstanding.
I think that's it.
That was the last one. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Thanks.
Really great stuff, Brad. Charles K. Charles K. is not here. Okay. This one is called Downhill to Skagway. During our June 2025 family vacation to Alaska, a couple of us took a tour up the mountains from Skagway. The weather was changing, and we had passed this gentleman riding his bike downhill in risky weather. We made a stop and he passed, and luckily I was able to catch him passing his de- to catch him passing. His determination was notable, I guess. And this is Ketchikan Young Eyes Gazing. This is my granddaughter in Ketchikan, Alaska in June of 2025. We were visiting our areas to identify unique features and wildlife. Her trademark is wearing different colored socks. I was able to capture with a 400 millimeter lens. Wouldn't have noticed that. That is Ketchikan Young Eyes Gazing. And then we have Kyle Marlette, magician. Kyle Marlette is known for the magic prank show on Netflix. He performed on a cruise ship. Another photo, he stared right at me with my telephoto lens, but happened to capture the spotlight. And that's all for Charles K. Christina Goff, I know, is not here, so I'll read for her. So this is called Flames to Smoke. I happened to be driving through Peninsula the morning the old Eddie's bike shop caught fire. By this time, the flames were out and 2 crews were left to be sure that nothing rekindled. I guess it's Edie's. Should know that. I remember that bike shop, Peninsula. This is called The Captain and the Smoke. The fire captain stood looking at the smoldering remains. The way he was standing, you could feel what a long morning it had been and how hard they had tried to save this local landmark. Captain in the Smoke. And then the last bike amid the charred remains of the shop. Sad. That was an awesome bike shop. Okay, Jackie is here. Get her a mic.
I don't remember the titles of any of these. So
Okay, I'll read the title and then you could just
then I'll
describe.
have to yeah.
Okay,
jump in.
this is Hiking Shield Lesson.
Yeah, so I shoot for Summit Metro Parks, and this was everybody brings their hiking sticks for the hiking sprees in, and some of the volunteers, especially some of the older gentlemen, love to show the kids how to use tools and everything like that. And I just he was explaining to this young man, I got a series of pictures, and I just like this one.
Yeah, that was Hiking Shield Lesson. This is called Looks Like a Winner.
So this was at the fishing derby at Firestone Lake, kids fishing derby, and it's a contest, and it's a, catch and release lake, and this little guy was just like beaming and looking at his fish because he knew he was going to be the big winner. It was one of the bigger ones. I don't know if he actually won, but I just loved him looking at this fish.
Okay, that was looks like a winner. This is called Good Ranger.
Yeah. So one of the benefits to what I do is I get to know a lot of park staff and the rangers. And anyway, it's kind of a spontaneous moment. I was talking to the lady who owned this dog and shooting some kids, and he was talking to this dog, and the dog was just, I have another picture, wasn't quite as good, with the dog's like licking his face. And I just thought this was like a sweet moment. Just kind of shows, I guess, the humanity of, this particular ranger and the pup that he stopped and played with him.
Okay, that was Good Ranger. This is called Blueberry Picking.
This is my granddaughter, Penny, and she really did not legitimately put any blueberries in the bucket, but she ate every single thing that she picked. She's 2, and then rolled around with the empty bucket. And I just had the camera. I grabbed one of these, and I just loved her expression.
Okay, that was Blueberry Picking. This is Dance to the Music.
So this was down at the viaduct, and they had an open house sort of thing where they let everybody for one Saturday kind of go and explore the old tracks and everything. And I shot a lot of photos, but as I was leaving, the disc jockey who's in the back started playing this crazy beat music. And these are just passerbys. Everybody just started dancing, and there was actually more people dancing, but it was a low light situation, and I this was the best that came out, but I just love that everybody just started spontaneously, unself-consciously dancing in the middle of the bridge thing.
That was Dance to the Music. This is called Optimism.
So the other fishing derby that is held by Summit Metro Parks is the Special Needs Fishing Derby. And I spent a lot of my career serving the special needs community. And everybody's really optimistic, but I just love that this guy was just like, take my pictures, you know, smiling, just happy. I don't know if he caught a fish or not. Most people did, but it was just, I just loved his expression as he was fishing, because every time I walked by, that's exactly how he looked.
That was Optimism, and this is Say Cheese.
So I don't know if this person's here.
This is
But-
Steven. He's one of my mentees.
Okay.
I told him this was going to be here. He needed to look for it.
So this was funny because one of the things he said to us is, don't look at the alpacas. So I was like looking at him, but I'm not sure what picture he got, but this was so funny. I have a series of him shooting the alpaca, and I thought this was like a great shot. Just, you know, actually more interesting than alpacas themselves was him like close up and personal. Try not to look at the alpaca.
It was Say Cheese. Thank you very much, Jackie. I have to ask him to show some of those pictures he got. Next is Jennifer Gaba, and she's not here unless she snuck in. So this is called 25th and Carroll. A hands-off protester rallies the crowd from the passenger side of his vehicle. That's 25th and Carroll. This is called Honk 4. A hands-off protester holds up a sign with the names and ages of Palestinians killed in the Israeli-Hamas war. Again, that's called Honk 4. By the way, hands-off is capitalized, so I guess it's a specific group. This is called OMG GOP WTF. A hands-off protester shows off a homemade sign looking as defeated as her message. That's OMG GOP WTF. Now we've got John Paganini, who is here.
I don't know people quite.
All right, we can show the first picture. So every Father's Day at Stan Hewitt, they have a car show. I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but I go to it every year, and I'm a judge there too. But there's a group of people, and they're clipboard carrying kids in straw hats, and they take their judging duties quite seriously, and they're named Future Judges in Training. And so they move from car to car with their clipboards and their judging materials. And so I have a couple photos talking about this event. So this one is called Young Minds, Classic Machines. They gather around a 1916 red Buick with their clipboards, immersed in their task. So it kind of captures their learning experience and how serious they are in the community and excitement that they're experiencing right now. Of course, the owner's inside the car, and he's talking to him about the car. Okay, next one. So this one, I call this one Under the Hood, and it's just a young judge stands eye to eye with that vintage engine, focused on the mechanical engine of a car that's over 100 years old. And I just like the way he was concentrating on it, and the contrast with everything else that's going on around him at this car show. It just shows how serious he was about what the heck he was looking at. Okay, and the next one is called Keeping Score. So this is similar. They're all standing around. This lady who owns a car is talking to them about what's going on inside the engine, and they're all taking notes and listening and judging. And the guy on the far right is the guy who kind of manages all the kids. And you can't see them, but the parents are also following him around as well. Okay, next one. And this is just a moment where, a new judge in training is peering into the interior of a classic car, and you see the kind of the vintage leather framed against her face. And I thought it was a warm picture. Next one, the last one is listening and learning. This gentleman here had a 1955 Thunderbird, and he's talking about that Continental tire kit, and almost everybody's intently listening except for that one girl in the sunglasses. And he let them all sit in his car, and maybe not coincidentally, he won the judging. So that was it.
Great. Thank you very much, John. We have Jordan Tetzel. Unless he's hiding, I don't see him either. This shot is called Pawleys Island Condo. Our condo was only a short 2-minute walk down a boardwalk that was so new you could smell the freshly cut pine lumber. It rose over the sand dunes, which was home to several beach cats, crabs, and plenty of dune grass. Everyone who walked on it got a great view north to south of the entire beach. Shown here is a set of wet footprints leading you to the sand. That's Pawleys Island Condo. This is low tide morning. Up early for the sunrise, and there's quite a sight to see. The sunsets and sunrises are both spectacular, but I enjoyed the ever-changing shapes and patterns of the sand on the beach. It was low tide morning. This is called Night Owl. Being the restless night owl, I had to take my opportunity to get some nighttime slow shutter speed shots. That's Night Owl. This is called 45 Charleston. There is plenty of money in Charleston. An example here of a Porsche sitting outside its owner's house that is just around the block from Rainbow Row, a famous set of colorful houses right on the waterfront of historic downtown Charleston. That's 45 Charleston. This is called Posing. The Brook Green Gardens, located right off Route 17, used to be a plantation during slavery. Today, it is an enormous garden and tourist attraction. They have acres of sculptures, flower gardens, animals, and boat rides. I would highly recommend a visit. Just be prepared to walk. That's Posing. This is Hiding from the Sun. My fiance is hiding from the sun on an extremely hot day at Brook Green Gardens. Her expression was due to the heat and totally not me wanting to stop every 5 seconds to take pictures. That's Hiding from the Sun. And this last one is called Pan. Pan is the god of the wild in Greek mythology. This statue depicts Pan in a ray of light in front of a brick wall. There, dozens of statues spread across the Brook Green Gardens. And that's called Pan. Kent Hill. Is there Kent? Okay. This is called Demonstration Riot Police. The 2016 National Republican Convention held in Cleveland, Ohio in 2016. It's a flashback. That's Demonstration Riot Police. This is called 9/11 Loss. The 9/11 Memorial in New York City has the names of people killed in the towers. This woman has her hands on her loved one's name on the memorial. That's 9/11. Occupy DC Irony. The Occupy DC protesters are doing their best to maintain an orderly environment. That's Occupy DC Irony. This is Protesters Sleeping. Occupy DC 2011 protester is sleeping on the hard ground. It's Protester Sleeping. This is National Park Service Rules. Occupy DC 2011 was encamped in Lafayette Square right across from the White House. The National Park sign lists expectation of visitors. Note the statue of Lafayette left top on the horse there. That's National Park Service Rules. This is the main entrance to Occupy New York. 2011 Occupy New York could be entered by multiple entry points. This is the main one. That's main entrance to Occupy New York. You're safe. The play is at second base. The ball is in the second baseman's glove, but to no avail. And that's You're Safe. And that's all for him. And I know Richard is not here tonight. So I'm pretty sure this is not this year's air show. This would be last year's, because everybody's going to this year's air show, right? Okay. This is called contrast in size. What struck me here was the huge difference in size of two objects you don't usually see together. That's contrast in size. This is walking the runway. Where planes were taking off the day before, a father and son strolled down the runway. I'm going to make an observation here. I've looked at all these images. Those of us going to the air show, our cameras are all going to be pointed where? Up in the sky. I'm pretty sure every one of Richard's images, he was watching the people watching the sky, which is a unique approach. So that was walking the runway. This is finding her shadow. This little one was more interested in her new friend, her shadow, than the jets overhead at the air show. And that's finding her shadow. Some grandpa time. A time for grandpa and grandson to be together. The jets were just an extra treat. That's some grandpa time. Here we have up in the sky, a beautiful day to spend 3 hours looking up at the sky instead of a screen. That's up in the sky. This is overhead show. Even if you're around planes all the time, it's still captivating. It's overhead show. And his last image, I think, is father and son. Again, the air show is secondary. This was a great day for some father and son time. So that's all of Richard's images. But isn't that something, as I went through and noticed, like, who's not looking up at the sky? You know, great images. And our last entry is Robert Boyle. He's moved out of the area. He used to be one of our instructors for our fundamentals class. This is called Sidewalk Artist, and he just describes it as artists of Jackson Square. And that concludes our images for tonight. Does anybody have any comments, observations? We've got, that's probably the shortest night I've ever seen. Did I do something wrong here? Okay, hang on just a second. I just want to get something up for the people at home. So if you want to make a comment, ask for the mic. We're totally open here.
Yeah, I thought everybody's was great, obviously, but the political statements were interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. So I'll make a political statement, and I said this when I took this office. And I'm gonna talk about the elephant in the room, and hopefully I'm not going to cause a controversy. We're living in a divided country that is just very divided, and we have people who are passionate on both sides. We're fairly equally divided. But I've been in the club for 20 years. I have a couple friends who are on the total opposite spectrum of me, and we just don't talk about that because we are photographers helping photographers. And I like to look at this club as a safe place to go where you don't have to worry about somebody stepping on your political toes or whatnot. And I think it's just a great thing. It's like a sanctuary. I just wish we could get more people in here to see that. So that's my political statement. Anybody else? Yeah.
Viaduct, was that with the strobe or was that the natural light? Oh, that's awesome. Sorry. All right. Yeah.
Any other observations? Nope. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We got lots of time to hang around and talk and eat popcorn. I got Dr. Pepper this time in case anybody wants Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm trying to improve the club, okay? There's a car show going on? Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone.